The NFL has become a powder keg for political division. The anti-American anthem protests have fractured the league and caused significant damage to viewership, perhaps for good. But the latest political battle involving the NFL involves Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh. Democratic opposition to Kavanaugh has been extreme, to say the least. The left feels its power slipping away, and they're fighting with all they have to make sure the Supreme Court doesn't tip conservative. That's why they've thrown several accusations of sexual misconduct against him. The latest charges came through arguably the sleaziest lawyer in America, Michael Avenatti, a man deluded enough to think he could win the presidency. Avenatti trotted out a woman named Julie Swetnick to make the outlandish claim Kavanaugh and his high school friends orchestrated multiple gang rape parties.
One thing we learned today for certain, though, Democrats badly want control of the Supreme Court. It's all that matters to them at the moment, and they will do whatever it takes, and they are. The latest exhibit comes from the lawyer for pornographic actress Stormy Daniels, whom, as you have heard by now, has a new client tonight. Her name is Julie Swetnick, and she alleges that about 35 years ago, Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh was part of a group of teenage boys in the Washington, D.C. area who committed a series of gang rapes. Kavanaugh himself seemed bewildered today when he was asked about this claim. He described it as like being part of an episode of The Twilight Zone.
Even the mainstream media were skeptical. It also turns out Swetnick has a history of dubious sexual harassment claims against companies. An ex-boyfriend said Swetnick is not credible at all, and even filed a restraining order against her for threatening his daughter. In light of the disgusting allegations, Kavanaugh's high school friend Michael Bidwill came to his defense. Bidwill, the current owner of the Arizona Cardinals, signed his name to a letter supporting Kavanaugh and avowed the allegations were completely bogus.
In a new letter sent to congressional members, Bidwell and about 60 others who knew Judge Kavanaugh in high school claim the latest allegations from Julie Swetnick are nonsense. They never witnessed any behavior like she described, and they never recall meeting Swetnick.
Democrats thought their smear of Kavanaugh would scare him into withdrawing his name, but he had zero intention of doing that. Kavanaugh energized conservatives by fighting back.
Since my nomination in July, there's been a frenzy on the left to come up with something, anything, to block my confirmation. Shortly after I was nominated, the Democratic Senate leader said he would, quote, oppose me with everything he's got. A Democratic senator on this committee publicly referred to me as evil. Evil. Think about that word. And said that those who supported me were, quote, complicit in evil. Another Democratic senator on this committee said, quote, Judge Kavanaugh is your worst nightmare. A former head of the Democratic National Committee said, quote, Judge Kavanaugh will threaten the lives of millions of Americans for decades to come.
The disgusting mistreatment of Kavanaugh even outraged Senator Lindsey Graham, who would never be described as a firebrand.
If you wanted an FBI investigation, you could have come to us. What you want to do is destroy this guy's life, hold this seat open, and hope you win in 2020. You've said that, not me. You've got nothing to apologize for. When you see Sotomayor and Kagan, tell them that Lindsey said hello, because I voted for them. I would never do to them what you've done to this guy. This is the most unethical sham since I've been in politics. And if you really wanted to know the truth, you sure as hell wouldn't have done what you've done to this guy.
The left's maniacal pursuit of power is beginning to show. They used this exact same smear strategy against conservative Supreme Court nominees Robert Bork and Clarence Thomas. More and more people are opening their eyes to the left's dirty tactics thanks to the determination of Judge Brett Kavanaugh. If you would like more real news that you can trust, subscribe to our YouTube channel.